Welcome to another episode of Chuck Taylor Tuesdays. I'm your host, Taylor Rebels, and you're here for another edition of all things Chuck Taylor, especially pertaining to my collection and just all news converse. Now I'm here just to talk about this particular week and of course mention some pieces of my collection and some news. But one thing I think all of us here on the East Coast can agree on, one thing in common. At this point, it's fucking cold. When I say it's cold, it's the type of cold that when you step outside and you get back inside, you feel like you went swimming, but in like a cold pool. You're dry as fuck, but you might as well have been like swimming in a lake somewhere with like socks on, pretty much, and underwear. But it's so unbearable that often as a sneakerhead, you also ask yourself, is it too cold for me to be wearing this? Like, I gotta only wear boots? But I'm here to say in my collection that I don't necessarily have to. One of the first items to speak about are these plaid wool chucks that I have here. These I got quite some time ago. I can't even think as far as to the exact store. I know it had to be somewhere downtown Manhattan. As a matter of fact, I would say I had these for about 4 years now. In which when I first saw them, I said, all right, I like the simplicity of the plaid. I like the material. It's a thick material where if I rock these with regular cotton socks or even wool ones, which for all of these, I just about wear them with wool socks, especially this time of the year where, let alone for this week, the week this vlog comes out, it's not going to be any higher than 50 degrees on average and no lower than about 25 tonight. And think about that, 25 degrees, you think to yourself like, oh, that's not that bad. You go ahead and stand outside for 15 minutes in 25 degree weather. Yeah, I know some places like it gets colder, shit's still not comfortable. And the thing is, your feet are normally the first things that you start to feel after a nice walk or just being outside in that kind of condition enough. So I think it's always important to really not only make sure you got fresh socks, and that's for its own interpretation. Some folks wear ankle socks in the winter. Some folks wear the long tube socks. You got a couple of you folks out there with the knee-high joints, for all what it's worth. And really, depending on what shoe you have, your feet will still be fucking cold. But that's the reason why going in this collection in a pair like these, the material that this is made out of, it's not just another canvas. In fact, you see some of the limp balls there where I could easily get a nice little shear off of that shit off of there. And yeah, I like the material. It's very warm. Like I said, it's a standard black with a tan and red plaid. So I get to wear this and mix this up. And it's definitely a nice piece for the fall, the winter, and definitely the spring. Hell, I could even do these in the summer, oddly enough, but for some reason they just never really touch the summer. The print and, like I said, the material, it just doesn't go down like that. Now we don't necessarily go from prints, but we go to patterns. This being the pair of the gray herringbones that I happen to have, one of two that are herringbone in a design, as you can see there with that finish, the white patch with the black lettering and the black just overall color and the font. I like this because for the most part, I've had a lot of jackets, I'll even suits that are this same color and material. This material is pretty thick, very, very thick as far as a cloth-like material. Maybe not as warm as the wool, but it's definitely a lot thicker. Well, I wouldn't say thicker, but it's just as thick in the density of the actual fabric. And like I said, I can sport these normally in the fall, winter, or the spring. And like I said, I've even worn this business casual, where I've gone ahead, even with these houndstooth laces, against the herringbone fabric, is just a nice touch. That sort of gray, white, and black monochromatic feel to it. And I can say with all of these chucks, you can see, well, as I like to say, they've got a little bit of character. I've had these for a while, so toes aren't perfectly pitch white. The very first, person that can give me a tip that doesn't involve necessarily painting or needing to just, do some real major construction to get that right back to white, let me know. I'm willing to do that. Whatever the product or the service is, I'm willing to take their inquiry. But these, as far as a piece of my fall, spring, and winter collection, these definitely help to keep the toes warm and, of course, in style. Next would definitely have to be the herringbone sort of tweed like mix of Chucks I have here with the black and white patch onto them. You know, these I've also had for a little while now. And just to go ahead and echo everything I said about the last gray pair of herringbones, these are darker gray, so it allows me to get it away with a lot more blacks and darker grays. And like I said, I've got a I've got a like long full-length coat, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's a Calvin Klein jacket that I have, and it too is of the same material. I'm talking the very same material. So when I'm able to pair that with that, or maybe like I said, a nice pair of dress pants, you know, get a dress shirt popping with it, you know, it's just a really, really cool and lax look. And I think for me, this is probably one of the really fine example of the sort of Chucks I look for. I don't need the craziest additions in the world, even though those are nice, but I like those that are really practical, to where it's not just your typical blue, white, red, brown, or as a bunch of crazy zippers or a bunch of crazy over the top colors. It can be something as subtle, but still makes a statement, to where these are blackish gray herringbone tweed pair of Chucks, and you're not just gonna go down the street and go pick these up. No, it's not gonna happen. You're not gonna necessarily spend the same you would on, let's say, a pair of Jordans either, but it is definitely saying that I got a certain taste that's not only casual, but even along the lines of liking finer materials and a classic print at that. So this is another one rounding up of my fall and winter wears. These should be fairly memorable for those who have been following the vlog. This is about the 4th episode now, and these are from the first episode we did, which was from the Black Saturday special, where I went to the Converse outlet store and found these for a crazy steal.
I like these. These are very basic. They look like an old school sweater. It's like a nice little knit, like the design and pattern. It's got that certain texture material to them. Even the patch is a little, you know, is that velvet? I don't know, it's a little suede joint.
You can see it's definitely of a nice like wool blend, like I remember calling it. I said like a hippie sweater like print, something like it. And I've worn these maybe once, which is why I still have the tag on it, you know, see Converse and all of that. One or more of the components of this product is the dye material leather textile canvas suede. There's possibility that some color migration may occur during use. So in other words, you gotta go easy with this, man. You gotta go easy with this, because the dyes and the materials, you don't want it to run. Like you see that patch is suede. That's a suede patch, all black. So something like that, once again, you want to go light with wearing that. You don't want to wear any of these, including these, in the, you know, in the rain or in snowy, you know, like conditions, anything where there could be a lot of moisture. So this is definitely for one of those crisp fall mornings, but of the variety that I've shown, it's got the most color. You see the different blues, hints of red and orange in there. So, you know, it's able to really cover a lot of different tones. I would probably say this is more like fall and winter-ish in nature as far as the whole like color layout is. You could probably get away with it during the spring as well, but again, this definitely rounds up some of the pairs in my collection that I would wear in colder temperatures, because when it's bumping to about only 51 degrees out during the day and as low as like 25 at night, you're gonna want to go ahead and keep the toes not only cool but warm.